Okay, so this is the bottom panel of the box. We're getting ready to load the frame onto this. It has a raised section here in the middle. It's got an elongate hole in the front for the bracket that holds the front inboard rod ends. It has a hole in the middle that's going to be the left joint one is going to be down into there. And then this is the left bottom bracket. It's going to fit into here. You have a piece of foam that came with your packaging. It's about 5 by 5 feet in dimensions. And it's going to fit on here like this, so that the bottom, joint one fits in here from the left side, the bottom bracket goes there, and the inboard rod end bracket goes right up in here. So we're going to bring the frame up and then we're going to set it down onto this. Alright, so we set the frame up here. I have the left strider pull on the left side, right strider pull on the right side. This is set up so that this is joint one here, and this bracket or clamp is going to fit down in that hole. The bottom bracket will fit in here, and the front inboard rod end bracket will fit here. The two brake lines are out this side, so I'm going to lift the whole frame up and slide it down in that hole right there, and position it like that. Okay, so the frame is now sitting in here. I've got the front bracket for the rod ends into this little groove. The left joint one clamp is down inside the box, and the bottom bracket is sitting here with the left side down. Now we'll put on the strider poles, connect those, fold the foam wrapping over, and we'll be able to put it in the box. Okay, on the bottom of the machine, right behind the bottom bracket, is a small secure piece of metal here that's been welded on, and we're going to put a piece of foam up against that and a zip tie around it to secure that, and that's going to protect things from rubbing up against that part during the shipping process. And now we're going to take these two strider poles, the upper one and the lower one, and we're going to join them together with two zip ties. I'm going to do that on the right side and then over on the left side. Okay, so that holds the strider poles together. Same thing over here. Now I want to point out a couple other things about how positioning these strider poles. You want these things to be far enough apart so that this upper joint 2 here can be lashed onto the steering linkage rods. The joint 2 on the right side will be lashed onto this support member here. The strider pole on this side will be lashed onto the chainstay on the left side, and then on the left grip will be lashed onto the rear fender. We're going to take the brake lines, we're going to lay them down alongside of the strider pole on the right side, and then we're going to take this foam and wrap it around the entire strider pole assembly all the way down like this. And then we'll start taking our zip ties and tying things together. First one up here. Push it through both sides. Bring your zip tie up tight. That secures the front part. Down here. This zip tie is going to go even around a piece of the crank arm to hold the crank arm in place. Like that. Okay, now on the left side, I'll wrap this foam over this way. Covering up the pole all the way down, even up and under the pole this time. And this is why we keep the brake levers loose, so they can move around during the packing system. Okay, so we have that there. I'm going to put a zip tie around this and secure the left grip to the underside of the rear fender. Then we're going to go all the way up here, and we're going to secure the front end of the left strider pole. We're going to secure that. That's tied there. And then we'll put one in the middle to keep the foam wrapped around. The unit's all packed together. It's almost ready to be put in the box. We're going to take another piece of foam, wrap it over top of the chainstay with a couple of zip ties and secure that. Okay, so the unit is all secured to the bottom panel. There's a cut on the end of each of these corners on the bottom panel, so you can put your fingers right there, lift the entire piece up, and set it right down in the box. And we can lift the box up and put it on the table for the remaining packaging. Now we're going to put the panel on there that the rear wheel sits on. So this goes in like this. This fits behind the fender and the dropouts. Slides down in like that, and then folds forward. Your rear wheel is going to sit here. Now we're going to set the rear wheel in here. First thing we want to make sure is that the nuts on both sides of the rear wheel are tight against the axle. On the side with the sprocket, which faces down, we're going to put a piece of cardboard over top of that. Just go like this, put it on. That sits down there in that hole. And then on the top here where this acorn nut is, you have this little plastic piece that came with your unit, and you're going to put that on there, and that protects this end. Next thing to do is put the cardboard in there that holds the front wheels. Here's the panel that goes in the front now to support the front wheels. And it sits down in here like this, slides down in. That piece of foam goes over this front end part just to give it a little bit more protection. And then that lays down over top. The right side clamp 1, or clamp for joint 1, comes through. This fits over there, like that. And the chain ring fits on that side right there. Okay, so I took a piece of foam, I doubled it up. We're going to cover up this right side of joint 1 clamp with a zip tie that's got already connected. I'm going to put a loop over top of that like this, and then make that tight like that. And then I put one zip tie through here that's going to hold the rear wheel up against this, all right? Or the front wheel up against that, not the rear wheel. Okay, so here's the front beam with the wheels. Tires are deflated. It's going to be put in so the front beam is on the opposite side of the box as to where the chain ring is. So it's going to be on this side away from the chain ring. That fits in there snug like that. It keeps these two pieces apart. And that zip tie that we put up here is going to wrap around that rear tire, or that front tire rather, like that. All right, everything here is secure. And now the tray fits over top of that, which also tends to hold this thing in that end. Here's the tray, the top tray. It's got two sides, a broad side and a thin side, or a thin channel and a broad channel. And the thin channel is going to go against the side where the front beam is closest to that side of the box. Fits in there like this. that stabilizes that front beam from moving back and forth. Okay, so here's the parts package that has to go back in your box. This is the envelope with the owner's manual in it, the DVD, and the other instructions. The toolkit goes in there. The inner tubes, the spare inner tubes go in there. The front beam parts go in there. Here's the small parts that have the crank bolts and the push rod. And if you have not put the reflectors on your wheels, put the reflector pack back in there also. And then we're going to put this together. Like that. We're going to set that on the broad trough channel. I'm going to tape this in. One more out here to secure it so it doesn't fly apart inside. Okay, and now to fold this box together, we're going to put the two end flaps down first. This one. Then we're going to fold this flap in. And then bring the main flap up and over and secure it with tape in the designated spots. We have a nice tape gun for doing this, but you can use any sort of tape dispenser to do this. All packed up, solid, ready to be shipped.